High above Earth, hidden behind the shadow of the moon, a massive alien ship floated silently. It was black, like the void of space, nearly invisible to the human eye. Inside, Commander Victh stood with his arms crossed behind his back. His golden eyes stared down at the blue planet. "This is the one?" he asked in a low voice. "Yes, Commander," replied the younger officer beside him. "Planet 045Z, local name, Earth. Population, 8.9 billion. Technology, primitive. Military power, low, no space defense." Commander Victh raised an eyebrow. "Then why does the Council fear them?" The officer paused. "They don't know, sir, but rumors speak of the Death World theory." Victh turned. "Death World? This ball of water and trees?" The officer nodded. "Yes, sir. The theory says only the most dangerous species survive on Death Worlds. Earth matches several signs: unstable climate, deadly wildlife, constant war." The commander laughed. It was a cold, sharp sound. "We'll see about that. Prepare the scanners. I want full analysis. If this Earth is truly a threat, we'll erase it before it learns to fly." Down below, on Earth, no one knew they were being watched. In a small military base in Nevada, USA, Captain Sarah Holt was drinking her third cup of coffee. She was tired. Again. Satellite shifts were boring. All she did was stare at blinking dots on a screen. Suddenly, her screen flashed red. "Unknown object detected," the machine whispered. Sarah sat up. What the hell? The object was huge. No ID tag. No signal. It wasn't a plane, satellite, or space station. And it wasn't alone. There were 6 more, hidden in the moon's shadow. She grabbed the phone. "Commander Jameson, you need to see this. Right now." Back in orbit, the alien ship opened its observation windows. Beams of soft blue light shot out and scanned Earth's oceans, deserts, cities, and forests. The aliens were careful, quiet, invisible. "They are divided," said the officer. "Many countries, many languages. They fight among themselves." Victh smirked. "Even better, easier to conquer." "But sir, they'd survived nuclear wars, plagues, climate collapse. And still they grow. Persistence means nothing if they cannot defend themselves," Victh said. Another officer stepped in. "Commander, we intercepted a strange signal. A human broadcast. Warning of invasion." Victh frowned. "Already? Impossible. We're cloaked." "Perhaps it was just a coincidence," the officer suggested. "No, there are no coincidences in war," Victh growled. "Prepare the stealth probes. Let's go deeper." Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., world leaders had gathered in secret. Sarah's report had caused panic. The U.S. wasn't the only one who saw the strange objects. China, Russia, and even small countries had noticed. "They're hiding behind the moon," one general said. "Why? What do they want?" A scientist stepped forward. "Maybe they're not here to talk. Maybe they're watching, judging." Someone whispered, "Like hunters stalking prey." President Reyes looked around the room. "We always thought we were alone, or that others would greet us with peace, but what if they see us as weak?" The room fell silent. Back on the alien ship, Commander Victh watched as images filled the screen. Humans crying, fighting, building, laughing. "They're emotional creatures," one alien said. "They're dangerous," said another. "Look at their wars, their weapons. They even fight their own kind. Yet they survive," Victh muttered, "even after everything. Disease, disaster, destruction." Another officer stepped closer. "Sir, should we strike now, before they grow stronger?" Victh didn't answer. He stared at Earth, lost in thought. "No," he said finally. "Let's test them first. Send a message. Something. Small. A warning. If they respond with fear, we destroy them. If they respond with strength, Then we'll know. Down on Earth, the first signal came. A strange sound. Not words, not music, just a single pulse, like a heartbeat, from deep space. Sarah heard it first. Then every satellite picked it up. It spread across the globe. One message, one beat, one warning, and it was only the beginning. The strange signal echoed across Earth like a ghost whispering through wires. It had no clear meaning, no language, just a deep, slow beat, like the pulse of something alive, something massive. At first, people thought it was just space noise. But then it repeated, every 6 hours. Exactly. Scientists around the world were confused. Some thought it was a natural sound, maybe from a star or black hole. Others said it was too perfect, too precise. In the Pentagon, Captain Sarah Holt stared at the signal screen. The pulse was steady, calm, but somehow it made her feel cold. "It's not random," she said. "They're doing this on purpose. It's a test." General Mason nodded, and we failed. In the alien ship above the moon, Commander Victh sat in his dark command chair. Around him, screens showed Earth's response. Militaries moving, radios buzzing, satellites searching. "They are afraid," said his officer. "No," Victh replied. "They are curious. That's more dangerous than fear." He waved his hand. A hologram of Earth appeared before him. They didn't panic. They didn't beg for help. They started preparing. Another officer looked worried. "Should we attack now, before they grow more alert?" Victh shook his head. "Not yet. I want to know what makes them so stubborn. Send the first probe." At a hidden base in the Arctic, a large telescope pointed toward the stars. Inside, Dr. Eliza Kahn watched the sky through thick glasses. Suddenly, her screen blinked. An object was entering Earth's atmosphere, fast and silent. No engine heat, no lights. "It's not a meteor," she whispered. "It's too controlled." The object landed in the Sahara Desert, leaving no explosion, no fire, just a soft hum. Within hours, military drones flew over the site. The object was smooth and silver, shaped like a tear. No windows, no doors, and it was glowing. In Washington, President Rice watched the drone footage with the world's top leaders. "Is it a weapon?" asked one. "Or a message?" asked another. Sarah Holt stood behind them. "I think it's both. They're watching what we'll do next." The president turned to her. "Then we must answer carefully." Back in the Sahara, a team of soldiers arrived. They circled the object, weapons ready. One brave soldier stepped forward and touched the surface. Nothing happened. Then, suddenly, the object opened. It split down the middle like a blooming flower. Inside, there was no pilot, no controls, just a dark sphere floating in the center. It began to play images. Not words, memories. Explosions, dead planets, burning cities, screaming voices. Then it showed Earth, the same fate. Cities in flames, billions dead. A voice, deep and cold, spoke in perfect English. "This is your future, chosen by your weakness. Prove us wrong, or perish." Then silence. The images spread across the internet in minutes. People panicked. Some ran to shelters. Others protested in the streets. But many did something unexpected. They united. All across the world, people began to prepare, not with fear, but with fire in their hearts. Old rivalries were set aside. Engineers, soldiers, hackers, and scientists joined hands. Humanity had been threatened. Now it would answer. In orbit, the alien officers watched in confusion. "They are rallying," one said. "They should be begging for mercy," another added. Commander Victh leaned forward, his golden eyes narrowed. "They refuse to kneel," he said slowly. "Interesting." One officer hissed, "This is dangerous. We should destroy their cities now, crush their spirit." But Victh raised a hand. "No, Let them believe they have a chance. We are not here just to conquer. We are here to test. If they are truly a death world species, we must be sure. He stood from his chair. Prepare the second probe. This time, we won't send warnings. We'll send pain. On Earth, Sarah looked up at the sky. The stars felt closer now. She didn't know what would come next. But one thing was clear. Earth was not weak. And soon, the galaxy would learn that too. It began without warning. A flash of light tore across the sky, bright enough to turn night into day. People looked up in fear. It wasn't lightning. It wasn't a comet. It was a weapon. The second probe had arrived. Over the skies of northern India, the object came down like a spear of fire. It didn't crash. It landed, slow and quiet, in a quiet village near the mountains. The air burned around it, but the object itself was cold, metallic, black, and shaped like a triangle. Within minutes, people began to gather, taking photos, calling the news. Then, it moved. With a sudden blast, it released a wave of energy. Silent, invisible, yet everything electronic died. Cars, phones, lights, dead. People screamed and ran. Some collapsed. Then came the machines. Inside the probe, hidden doors opened. Four-legged metal drones crawled out. They were fast, sharp, and armed with glowing blue blades. They didn't speak. They hunted. In minutes, 20 people were dead. Back at U.S. Command, Captain Sarah Holt received the video. It was horrible. Her hands shook as she watched. "They're testing our response," she said. General Mason slammed his fist on the table. "We won't sit and watch. Launch the counter-drones. Now." Across the world, human militaries activated emergency plans. Jets flew. Robots marched. Satellites locked on. For the first time in human history, Earth wasn't fighting each other. It was fighting something else. Above Earth, the alien ship observed. The humans responded faster than expected, an officer said. They located the probe and attacked in under 20 minutes. Commander Victh nodded. "Good. Let's see if they can win." Another officer asked, "And if they do?" "Then we escalate." In the mountains, India's rapid response team arrived. Drones armed with EMP bombs and AI tracking systems. A fierce battle began. The alien drones were fast, slicing through steel and fire. But the humans were smarter. One soldier lured a drone into a trap. An EMP net exploded, frying its circuits. Another used terrain to their advantage, hiding in the forest and striking from above. Within 1 hour, the alien drones were gone. Only wreckage remained. Sarah watched the battle feed from the war room. Her eyes widened. "We won," she said softly. General Mason stared at the screen. "No, we survived. There's a difference." The president called in. "The world is watching. What should we tell them?" Sarah stood straight. "Tell them we bled, but we didn't break." In space, Victh leaned back in his chair. "They adapted," he muttered. "They always do," an officer said bitterly. Another one asked, "Shall we prepare the invasion ships?" "No," Victh said with a strange smile. "Let them taste victory. Let their hope grow. Then we crush it." He turned toward the dark side of the moon. "And send in the third probe. This one won't test their machines. It will test their minds." Far away in a lab in Tokyo, Dr. Rika Yamato was scanning the remains of one alien drone. "It's alive," she whispered. Everyone froze. The broken drone's eye lit up with a flicker. Rika leaned closer. It whispered. Just one word. Judgment. Back on the alien ship, another countdown had begun. Earth thought it had won. But the true war was just starting. The third probe did not fall from the sky like the others. It simply appeared. No light, no sound, no crash. One moment the mountains of Peru were empty. The next, a large black cube stood there, perfectly still. perfectly silent. Its surface was smooth, but when touched, it felt like it was breathing. Locals who saw the cube first felt strange. Some stared at it for hours, unmoving. Others began talking to things that weren't there. A few just screamed and ran. When soldiers arrived, the area was already full of confusion. Then the dreams started. In Tokyo, Dr. Rika Yamato had barely slept since the drone incident. Now, she had another problem. People across the globe were reporting the same nightmare. A burning planet, a sky full of eyes, and a voice whispering, "Do you see now?" The images were the same in every dream. Different people, same fear. It wasn't just coincidence. The cube was inside their minds. At U.S. command, Sarah Holt read the reports. "Are we under psychic attack?" she asked the science team. "No," one of them said nervously. "We're under mental invasion. It's like the probe is broadcasting straight into the human brain." "How is that possible?" Sarah demanded. Another expert replied, "We don't know. But if this continues, people could lose their minds." Sarah stood in silence. "This isn't a weapon," she said. "It's a warning. A test. Again." In orbit, Commander Virex watched Earth's confusion grow. "They're trying to block the signal," an officer reported. "They're using machines to shield their minds." Virex shook his head. "Pointless. If they fail this test, their minds will break. If they pass, then they may be more than animals." Another officer asked, "Why not just conquer them now? We outgun them, outthink them." "Because," Virex said softly, "we were wrong before. We underestimated other species. We paid the price. This time, we know what we're dealing with, or we learn the hard way." In Peru, a special team entered the cube. At first, it was empty, just endless black walls. Then, the walls turned to mirrors. Each soldier saw something different. One saw his dead brother. One saw her child, lost in war. One saw himself, older, broken, alone. The cube was showing them their deepest fears, testing their will. Two of the soldiers fell to their knees and wept. But one, Captain Elena Cruz, stood tall. "This is a trick," she said. "These aren't real." The cube reacted. A door opened. Behind it was a message, burned into the wall in glowing blue. "You resist. Good. Then let's see what comes next." Outside, the cube disappeared in a flash of light, just like it had come. Gone. But it left something behind. A strange metal cube the size of a book, humming softly. It was picked up by scientists and sent to Dr. Rika in Tokyo. The cube lit up as soon as she touched it. Then it spoke in her own voice. "We are not here to invade. We are here to decide. If Earth survives, it must prove it deserves to." Rika dropped it in shock. In Washington, world leaders debated the next move. "We've passed 3 tests," one said. "No," Sarah Holt replied. "We've survived 3 traps." "There's a difference." President Reyes nodded. "We need to prepare. This isn't about weapons. This is about our spirit. And they're trying to break it." In space, Virex stood alone in front of the Earth hologram. "They are stronger than we thought," he admitted. One officer asked, "Do you respect them now?" Virex didn't answer. He turned away and whispered, "Send the 4th probe. This time, we break their skies." Down on Earth, people were waking from nightmares. But they were no longer afraid. They were angry and united. Across the world, a message was spreading through secret military channels. Whatever comes next, we fight together. 3 tests, 3 traps. Earth had survived them all. But now, the 4th probe came not in silence, but with thunder. It began with fire in the clouds. A massive ship, black, sharp, and glowing red, descended through the sky over the Atlantic Ocean, bigger than any human aircraft. Its shape was not built for flight. It was built for war. The air around it cracked with energy. Thousands saw it. Planes had to change course. Storms formed around it. Even satellites above Earth blinked out when the ship passed beneath them. This was not a scout. This was a message. In Washington, alarms screamed in every military base. Captain Sarah Holt stared at the live satellite feed. The ship was floating just above the ocean, not moving. But the sky around it was burning. "It's not firing," said General Mason. "Not yet," Sarah replied. President Reyes appeared on the secure screen. "What do they want this time?" Sarah answered, "They want to see how we fight in the open, not in labs, not in dreams, but in fire and chaos." The president nodded. "Then give them a war they'll never forget." Across the Atlantic, 6 nations launched their defenses. Jet fighters flew. Drones buzzed. Submarines rose from the deep. The human response was loud, fast, and full of fury. They weren't just defending. They were attacking first. Above the ocean, the alien warship stirred. It released hundreds of small silver objects. They looked like raindrops, silent, fast, and deadly. But when they hit the water, they exploded into flame and metal. Mini drones, each one moved on its own, dodging missiles, attacking fighters, and diving into warships. The sky turned into a battlefield. In the air, Captain Julian Marks flew a stealth jet through the chaos. "Target lock. Fire," he shouted, launching a missile. One drone dodged. Another hit. The explosion lit up the sky. "This is for Earth, you metal freaks," he yelled. But then 3 enemy drones chased him. He twisted, dove into the clouds, then released flares. 2 exploded. The third kept coming. Suddenly, a second human jet came from behind and blasted it to pieces. Julian laughed. "We got your back, brother," said the other pilot over radio. Humans were not just surviving now. They were fighting together. The battle over the Atlantic raged for hours. Fire lit up the sky. Smoke covered the ocean. Wreckage from both sides sank into the sea. But Earth did not fall. From command centers across the globe, Washington, London, Beijing, Nairobi, military leaders watched the fight unfold. In Brazil, the new Scanet defense system launched, a swarm of eye-guided drones, built in secret just weeks earlier. They flew fast, fought harder. They weren't perfect, but they were everywhere. For every alien drone that struck, 2 more human machines answered back. In her command center, Captain Sarah Holt didn't rest. Her eyes were glued to the screens. "How much longer can we hold?" asked General Mason. "As long as it takes," Sarah replied. "This is not just defense anymore. This is our stand." She looked at a blinking red dot moving toward Africa. "What's that?" she asked. The radar technician replied. "A second alien ship, bigger than the first." Sarah's voice went cold. "They're sending reinforcements." Above Earth, Commander Victh stood calmly on the bridge of his battleship. His officers watched Earth's resistance with confusion. "They are losing ships," said one. "But they keep fighting." "They don't retreat," added another. Victh narrowed his glowing golden eyes. "They do not fear death," he said. "They fear failure." One officer looked at him. "What now, Commander?" Victh stared at the hologram of Earth. "We test their soul." At that moment, something terrifying happened. The alien ship over Africa released a pulse of purple light. It wasn't a weapon. It was something worse. It shut down Earth's satellites. All of them. Instant blackouts struck major cities. Communications failed. GPS systems went dead. Planes had to land blind. Chaos erupted. In Tokyo, Dr. Rika Yamato sat in a dark lab, staring at the floating alien cube left behind by the third probe. It began to glow again. It whispered, "This is your final trial. Unite or fall alone." She ran to the emergency radio and sent a message on old analog lines, low-tech but still working. Satellite blackout confirmed. Tell all countries, fall back to ground systems. Use shortwave. We're not done yet. On the battlefield, Captain Julian Mark's jet lost radar. Missiles stopped locking. But he didn't stop flying. He fought by instinct, by heart. Behind him, another jet exploded. "Damn it," he shouted. "I'm not letting them win." He dove into a group of enemy drones and used the last of his fuel to crash into them. A final explosion lit up the sky. All over the world, people fought without modern tools. They used what they had: old radios, flare signals, hand-drawn maps. And still, they held the line. On the alien bridge, Victh looked impressed. "They adapt without tech," he said softly. "Their tools break, but their spirit doesn't." One officer hissed, "They're Deathworlders, Commander. This is what they do." Another said, "If they survive this next phase, we may have to call the council." Victh gave a slow, thoughtful nod. "Prepare the final test." In Washington, Sarah Holt stood before the world leaders. "The aliens are watching us, studying how we react. This is not a war. It's a judgment." President Reyes asked, "Then how do we win?" Sarah's voice was steady. "We stop reacting. We take the fight to them." Everyone stared. "You mean attack the mothership?" the British Prime Minister asked. "Yes," Sarah said. "Show them we're not prey." In a hidden space launch site, the world's last secret weapon was being prepared. The Arrow, a human-made spacecraft armed with a new plasma warhead built from alien tech recovered during the Sahara probe incident. It wasn't finished, but it was ready enough. As night fell on Earth, people looked up and saw something strange. A bright white streak rising into the stars. The Arrow had launched. Above Earth, Victh watched the human ship rising. One officer looked shocked. "They're attacking us." Victh said nothing. His eyes locked on the white trail. And for the first time, he looked uncertain. The world held its breath. The Arrow, Earth's first warship built for space, was climbing fast, straight toward the alien mothership. It was small, light, still a prototype. But it carried something no machine ever had: the will of humanity. In the command room, Captain Sarah Holt stood with her team. "How long until Arrow reaches target?" she asked. 17 minutes, the technician replied. President Reyes appeared on the screen. "Are we sure about this?" he asked. Sarah's voice was calm. "It's not just about winning, sir. It's about sending a message." In space, the alien commander Victh stood silent, watching the Arrow approach. "They're not turning back," one officer said. Victh's eyes narrowed. "Let them come." Inside the Arrow, Commander Ray Diaz checked his systems. He wasn't a scientist. He wasn't a legend. Just a pilot who had lost too many people to these alien games. He pressed the final command. "Target locked." His voice crackled over radio. "To all of Earth, if this is our last breath, let it be loud enough to shake the stars." The alien ship fired first. A beam of red energy shot across space. The Arrow dodged, barely. Another blast grazed its side. Sparks flew inside the cockpit. Ray gritted his teeth. He kept going. On Earth, people watched from phones, TVs, rooftops, in silence. Not out of fear, but hope. The Arrow reached the alien mothership, too close for more beams, too fast to stop. It smashed through the outer shell. Alarm screamed inside the alien vessel. Flames spread in every direction. The humans had broken the unbreakable. Victh stood still, eyes wide. "They breached our core," an officer said in shock. Another cried, "Commander, shall we retreat?" But Victh raised a hand. "No." He stared at the fire blooming on the ship's screens. "They've passed the final test." Down on Earth, the alien warships stopped moving. Their drones froze. Their weapons powered down. And then, a signal was broadcast across every screen in every language. The face of Commander Victh appeared. Cold, calm, but respectful. Deathworlders of Earth, you have proven yourselves, not by your weapons, not by your machines, but by your unity, your courage, your refusal to kneel. His golden eyes burned into the screen. Others begged for mercy. You offered defiance. Others surrendered. You answered with fire. Then he said the final words. The Council will fear you, and so they should, for Earth is no longer weak. Earth has given its final warning. The signal ended. The alien ships vanished into space. Gone. Cheers broke out all across Earth. People cried, hugged, sung. For the first time in human history, all nations had stood together and won. In a quiet hospital in Tokyo, Dr. Rika Yamato looked up at the stars. The alien cube beside her went dark. It would never speak again. In Washington, President Reyes stood beside Sarah Holt. You did it, he said. She shook her head. We did it. He smiled. What happens now? She looked at the stars. We get ready. Because out there, in the dark, others were watching. And they had seen what Earth could do.